I don't know what this video is, but I just gotta talk. Yo, man, I just gotta talk, dude. I was like, yo, the first thing I'm doing, I couldn't sleep last night, man, you know. The adrenaline was popping off too hard. If you have not watched the reaction stream, even if you don't want to watch the reaction, we had so much fun in the post-discussion section. I would highly recommend going back and watching it. It was a legendary stream, man. But if you're here, you just wanna, like I said, I don't even know what this is called. I've never really done something like this before and afterthoughts. I gotta talk, man. And I want to continue to let the comments go up. It's too early for the afterthoughts. I like to let stuff sit for a little bit so we're not going into it with 100% hype. But I don't even know if years could pass and I could get over something like this, man. Yo. Brother, I've ascended, man. I mean... Yo, man. How does Oda put Marshall D. Teach's ship, the Great Zebek, the Saber of Zebek, pulling up on Egghead Island with all the insanity that's already ensuing over there in this same chapter as Shanks using Divine Departure? It's like, bro, I don't know what to do, man. It's like... It's peak. If there's one word that I could use to describe what I'm feeling right now, it's peak. It's Everest. It's Mount Everest, man. I'm at the very top of Mount Everest, looking around at my fellow individuals that sit with me atop of this peak, man. Everyone who has experienced this greatness is just sitting here. I'm pulling everybody up. They're pulling me up. Y'all pulled me up to Mount Everest last night. It's a beautiful time to be alive, y'all. It's like the part-timers have become full-timers. And the entire time last night, or I should say this morning, I was thinking about the Shanks and Blackbeard incoming hype. I was just thinking about the other individuals we could potentially see as well, right? In the near future and what they're capable of. I mean, like I always say, anytime I get hyped for one of these characters, the other characters by affiliation get more hype as well. So while I was experiencing this greatness, when I finished a chapter, I was like, brother, what are we going to see from Mihawk? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what are we going to see from Mihawk? Because you know who's cooking with Mihawk, son. So it's like, yo, if I saw Shanks one-shot Kid, an individual worth 3 billion berries, he one-shotted him, his crew, and his ship, which still, shout out to Killer, man. Shout out to Killer for doing that. And I just, it's got to be a sad day for the individuals on that ship who have been traveling for so long with that ship. I mean, they literally got Sabaody by one man. It was just, it's like, it's such a... It's like the biggest wake-up call I've ever seen in the series, right? Where in Sabaody, it was a major wake-up call. But that was everything culminating there. You know what I mean? Luffy getting one-shotted by Kaido was also a major wake-up call. Bro, this man took out the whole crew. He took out the whole crew with a single attack. His first named attack, the Kamusari. And it's like, I know from a narrative standpoint, Kid is going to come back. It is the beginning of the final saga. If he came back from getting destroyed by Kaido, and he came back and defeated Big Mom, there is no way in the Flagners he's not coming back from this. I continue to joke around about the King Kai thing, right? You know, he's going to be searching for half his body. He's going to continue searching for half his body, but when he gets it back, we're definitely going to see Kid once again in the series. And I look forward to seeing what he has. Obviously, Shanks' Conqueror's Hockey is so extreme that Kid is going to get advanced Conqueror's hockey, Conqueror's coding, just from being hit by Divine Departure. I feel like people who get hit by Divine Departure, Killer might awaken his Conqueror's hockey. The rest of Kid's crew might awaken Conqueror's hockey due to being struck by Divine Departure. That's the way it works. You feel me? And it's like, brother, what is about to happen on Egghead, man? The fact that Shanks finished the job already is insane to me. Because that gives him the freedom to pick up those road poneglyphs and get on to the next location. Where that next location is Lodestar, or we very well could have the God Valley incident times 5,000 happening on Egghead. Because it's right next to where they are. If Shanks goes over to Egghead Island, if Blackbeard is on that ship, if Marshall D teaches on the ship, because we don't know, it could just be Kuzan with some of the other head Titanic captains, right? With Pudding potentially still there and Kobe potentially still. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Law's still breathing. Did Law? I mean, he didn't get it like this. But if he took his L, man, he took his L, right? We don't know. We don't know. So, but the fact remains, if this is Blackbeard pulling up to Egghead Island, oh my god, man, no wonder they said this thing's about to be ground zero. It's going to be ground zero just by Conqueror's hockey. If Blackbeard pulls up to Egghead, while the King is on Egghead, while the rest of the crew is on Egghead, while the S units are on Egghead, Sane J. Garcia Saturn pulls up Kizaru in 100 massive battleships, double the size of Marineford. And either the Grand Fleet, Dragon, Cross-Scaled show up to deal with that. And if Shanks pulls up, oh. Is Egghead Laugh Tale? I mean, what is going on, man? What is going on in One Piece right now? I thought Wano was giving me stuff on a weekly basis that I never thought I would see, and it did. I received so much things within that series, within that arc, that I never even would have imagined seeing, right? But it's like they're here, you know? They're here, they're in the vicinity, they're around town, bring it around town. They're bringing it around town. Bro, if Lucky Roo just, ooh, put it in reverse, Terry. If Lucky Roo, the monkey, Ben Beckman, someone on that ship puts it in reverse, and they go to Egghead, what this tells me is, if Kid recuperates / stays on Elbaf, and Luffy meets up with Kid again on Elbaf, and that is where we, like we were all speculating, that's where we start seeing like the stuff with Loki, the potential thanks from Elbaf to Kid for taking out Big Mom, and stuff of that nature, right? It could most certainly take place 100%. No, they have no ship to leave, so they're going to have to station themselves on Elbaf while they retrieve a new ship. At least that's like the most, it's looking like the most likely scenario. The thing here with this is, with the Egghead incident nearby, we have no idea what is going to take place here that is going to allow, like we know, or we assume, the next destination for the Straw Hats is going to be Elbaf. And if it's going to be Elbaf, how are we going to get to that point? If all these things are going to culminate here, we're going to need a rocket ship. We're going to need a rocket ship to escape this island. This is going to be too much, man. This is going to be too much. You know, and another thing I was thinking about, right, while I was reading this, because it's just, I cannot believe that we saw Divine Departure, man. I like, if there's one thing, even above, it's crazy. It's crazy. This man used Divine Departure, bro, after activating his future sight. He activated his future sight to watch what was going to happen like a movie, and then proceeded to speed blitz the entire crew, appear before him. The fact that he has... Let me read these off verbatim, man. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. Hold up. Look at this. Right here. Right here. Right here, dude. We have Captain of the Puddle Pirates, Padded Toe Girotoni, Grave Tooth Fugar, and Panicky Poodoo. I don't know how they are, man. I don't. But if these individuals can barely take on the 10th individual on Kid's crew, the fact that Shanks has him under their ship is such a special thing, man. It is such a Shanks thing that it's like, yo, you're my friends. I'm taking you under my wing. It's so Luffy. It's so what we expect from someone like Shanks. In this week's chapter, once again, we got to see the chapter 1 thing of why we fell in love with Shanks in the first place as a character, where we see how he truly feels about his friends and when they're about to get hurt, right? Because he saw these individuals about to get destroyed by Kid's Spartan laser. Shanks felt that they were all going to get eradicated by that Spartan laser. And he was like, I cannot allow that to happen. And what forced him to move in the same way that did in chapter 1? It's not when he's getting defiled. It's not when he's getting hit. It's not when he's getting it. It's when his friends, his people are about to take an L. And he was like, before that happens, I'm not going to allow that to happen. That's not happening on my watch. And then he does what he does. But it really does go to show the type of individual that he is and the type of freedom that he has attained, right, as a pirate. Because it is just so raw to be able to, at a moment's notice, do something like this to someone else. Because he even asked, yo, like in this chapter, we got several confirmations that he went to Wano to go get a Blackbeard and to promote a movie, right? And to promote a movie. But to go after Blackbeard because he thought he was going to show up, right? The same thing that all of us were expecting. Like, yo, Blackbeard's going to show up to either get Kaido's fruit or to get Pluton. It just makes sense, right? But the fact that he did not go there was like, oh, wait a minute, you know? What's going on here? So even Shanks was bamboozled by Blackbeard's plans. So now I wonder if he's going to attempt to intercept Blackbeard, if that's what he wants to do next. Oh, I couldn't handle this. I could not handle this. I can't even imagine how it's going to be when we have named attacks from Shanks against Blackbeard. Or Shanks coming in for Roger Whitebeard style clash against Luffy. I mean, we're not going to be able to handle that, man. I'm not going to be able to handle that in the slightest. When I see Mihawk go in against Zoro, and we see the fullest extent of swordsmanship in this series, where each individual swing is going to have the capabilities of wiping out a mountain. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. When Blackbeard has all 3 of his fruits ready to go, awakened, and he's going up against the sun. He's going up against Gear 5, Luffy Tunes, Pirate King, Go With The Coat, and all of his wackiest and great... Dude, it's like, this is still just the beginning of the final saga. We saw a divine departure from Shanks within the first 25 chapters, the 25th chapter of the final saga. If we start the final saga from chapter 1054 until now, this is the 25th chapter of the final saga. And in the 25th chapter of the final saga, we saw divine departure from Shanks. In like the 100th chapter of the final saga, we're going to see dawn whatever, boxing, potentially, a Shanks, or Loki, or whatever it is, and I'm not gonna be able to handle that. Blackbeard's awakening. Like, there's just a dragon when he moves and does his thing. It's like, what made this chapter so special is it felt like the culmination of all of my years as a One Piece fan, flashing before my eyes. As I saw someone do something I've been wanting to see for so long, when he did the Discord hockey attack, because we had always been wondering, right? What can he do? Why are people, like, why do they respect him so much? Why is he that dude? We know he's that dude, but we never seen him do nothing, right? So it's like, I want to know what Shanks does. What is he capable of? What can he do? And the fact that he really is like Roger out here. He's Roger with Katakuri levels of future sight. And he's out here rocking Divine Departure, which is, I'm going to assume, just one of his named attacks. That's like the peak is the peak fiction right there, man. Future sight. I saw the Discord Hockey Conquers Hockey thing. I mean, just proficient on all levels. And it's like, being able to see that being displayed to us within the first 25 chapters of the final saga lets me know this final saga is going to be different. Because we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. The very tip of the iceberg. The fact this was the first thing that we saw here, lets me know, like, yo, what else does he have in that bag? What else does he have in that bag? How did Blackbeard scar Shanks? If that doesn't tell you something about those dudes and how insane they must be, I don't know what does, man. I don't know what does. And then I think back to previous stuff in the series. The fact that, now I'm not sure, you know, in regards to how much it was truly behind some of these attacks, right? But I gained new levels of appreciation for some of these right-hand men in this series. Killer and Zoro. My appreciation for both characters skyrocketed after this. Because Killer, the fact that he was willing to attempt to take on the Divine Departure and then got his mass split because he just couldn't take it. I have so much respect for him for even attempting such a thing. But then I look back at Zoro taking on the Ikaku sovereignty from Kaido and Big Mom, and he was eating that thing. Oh, man, Zoro. That's my guy, man. In the face of two emperors, he ate that thing. Ate it. Took one for the squad. Law was there. Kid was there. Killer was there. He was like, stay behind me. Yo, man. I gotta respect Killer. I honestly think Killer saw what Zoro did, and he was like, I'm gonna try to do the same thing here. I mean, it failed, but I respect the hustle. I do. I respect him, man, so much for doing that. Like, so much for doing that. But it's just, it really was just years of being a fan. And that's what this final saga has been, right? Just years of being a fan and waiting to see Vegapunk. Years of being a fan and waiting to see Luffy's dream, right? And hints towards that. Years of being a fan and wanting to see more stuff about the Void Sentry. Years of being a fan and, you know, the payoff to Lucci and the Enies Lobby stuff by seeing parallels to the betrayal, right? And also the moments with, like, Gear 5 Luffy versus Lucci and the incredible panel-to-panel comparisons. Sanji Garcia Saturn's name being revealed. Remember the Gorosei being revealed, right? We've seen them so many times in the past year as well. And it's just like Garp is pulling up on Blackbeard, and it's all of these years of speculating. What is the final saga going to be cooking? What are we in store for? And the fact that we're getting so many of these things is really what has made Egghead just stand out as a really special experience. But Shanks using Divine Departure in this chapter was like the icing on the cake. And the craziest thing to me about this, y'all, is that the fact that this did not take place in post-Egghead means that Egghead has more insanity to come. Oda's like, yo, this still might not be the peak of it. That's why yesterday I had such a difficult time saying this is going to be the best chapter of the year. Because as much as I want to say this is the best chapter of the year, and the hype here can only be replicated by like a handful of chapters in the series, This is Final Saga Oda. Brother, if Blackbeard pulls up on Egghead, or even if Aokiji by himself pulls up on Egghead, the amount of scenarios and intrigue that come up from that is going to be peakest of peak. And don't even get me started if Shanks also pulls up, or if the Cross Guild pulls up, or if Dragon and the Grand Fleet pull up. Like, dude, this legitimately, like, as crazy as it feels to say, this might not be the best chapter of the year by the time we finish this year. That's how much old Final Saga Oda's cooking. Dude, this is crazy, man. He real deal. Shanks wanted to box Blackbeard on Wano, bro. And if Blackbeard had the foresight to know that Shanks would probably want to intercept him at Wano and instead went another way, that is also really good on Blackbeard's part from a character standpoint, because he understood that had something like that taking place there and then, he potentially still might have been at a disadvantage, because as he said at Marineford, he isn't ready to fight these guys yet. He knows Shanks's crew, right? And he knows what they can do. Blackbeard is attempting to develop, to create like this super team, kind of like how in sports they develop these super teams specifically to take on a certain team. He's developing his super team with these fruits and everything in order to take on Shanks, right? And Luffy and the other individuals that are in this verse. So it's like, for Shanks in particular, though, I'm sure he must be waiting on one fruit in particular before he goes to take him on. Something that could give him some sort of advantage within that, right? Or anything that would come closer to securing victory, right? Or maybe it's just the right time, like the appointed time or something. So the fact that he did not pull up to Wano lets me know, if he was expecting Shanks to pull up, he instead went for the safer route and went towards, waiting for one of the three captains, like Luffy, Law, or Kid, to show up, which to me just goes into Blackbeard's opportunistic nature and the way in which he goes about things. That's implying that he knew they were going to Wano, right? If he didn't know, then that's just that, right? But I think that's really cool on Blackbeard's part, which once again goes into what's happening right now on Egghead. Because once again, if this is not Blackbeard, if this is Shiryu of the Rain, or if this is Kuzan, or if this is several of the Titanic captains and not Blackbeard, or if this legitimately is Blackbeard after taking a W on Island Full Lead, I have no idea. But regardless, the fact that the fact remains, he wants to keep his momentum moving. Whether Blackbeard caught the W and is going to Egghead in order to get something else that he wants, something else that's on his mind, or he's sending one of his people, like while he's boxing Law, while he's taking care of this Kobe and Garp and all this situation, he sends Kuzan and Shiryu or whatever to go take care of the situation over in Egghead. Do you know how goated that is? That's one of the reasons why I love the Lafitte theory, Lafitte potentially showing up on Egghead so much. Because it just goes to show that while Blackbeard is doing one thing, he's trying to multitask and do something else to keep things in his favor. And because we know that he's a very opportunistic individual who, of course, he's presented as like this cowardly type of figure that is always going to run away, but he's smart about it, right? He's willing to literally do whatever it takes to accomplish his dream and accomplish his goal. Right? So, and right now, having a murdered three-eyed tribe who can read poneglyphs is a part of that. And y'all know how much I love Pudding. So it's like, if Pudding is still on that ship, regardless of who's in that ship, whether it be Kuzan or another of the 10 Titanic captains, or Shiryu, whoever, or Blackbeard himself on the ship, the fact remains that Pudding is more than likely still there. Which tells me if Pudding is still there, there is a likely scenario that someone could show up in an attempt to rescue her, right? Because I still believe, we don't know where the Big Mom Pirates are, and I still think Katakuri wants to save Pudding and get revenge for what happened on his island. So now that they're pulling up to Egghead, if Pudding is still in that ship, but, I mean, of course, we're bound for another Sanji, for a great Sanji moment, right? But like we talked about last night on stream, that could be a huge scenario in and of itself. The fact that Pudding is going to be on the ship. And we have to take care of that. And like we talked about last night, Kuzan potentially being on that ship, because for me, I wanted Kuzan to have a conversation with Kobe or Garp or any of these individuals that were previously in the Marines. But if Aokiji instead pulls up to Egghead and has to deal with the consequences of what happens to Kobe and what happens to Garp, and he's not there to see that. You know, let's just say Garp dies or something major happens over there and he's not there for that. He's gonna have that weighing on his conscience if he is a triple agent, right? So we move over to Egghead. He gets to have an interaction with Ikizaru as Seiji Garcia Saturn. Those are very exciting potential scenarios, right? I also wonder how Akainu would react if somebody pulls up on the Dendenmushi and Dendenmushi's like, yo, Kuzan is here. Kuzan is here under the Blackbeard's pirate flag. Do you know how insane that would be? Oh man, Akainu would break like 50 cigars at once. You feel me? And I wonder if that would be like the final straw where he's like, ah, screw it, I'm sending everyone. Like, I've had enough. I've had enough of this, right? And of course, in classic narrative fashion, the moment he decides to go on the full offensive, that's when the Revolutionary Army attacks. Like, that could very well be the case, and what happens. So, exciting stuff. The Blackbeard showing up thing, regardless of who's showing up, to me, presents a very exciting scenario. Especially now, since Shanks is leaving this place, and we don't know where he's going. We don't know if he's going to Lodestar. We don't know if he's going to intercept Blackbeard. We don't know if he's going to Egghead. If Shanks shows up on Egghead too, and we get Luffy meeting Shanks in this arc, this is the best arc in the series. I mean, it's hard. It's gonna be hard for me to not say that it's not the best arc in the series. If this is the arc where Blackbeard pulls up on Egghead, we have Marineford and God Valley 2.0 taking place here. And it's also the same arc with Shanks meets Luffy, and potentially, or if Shanks doesn't meet Luffy here, Dragon could potentially meet Luffy here. We still don't have the incredible flashback of Kuma and Jewelry Bonnie yet, even though we've seen the aftermath of that. We have incredible lore and Void Century information. If we added the hype aspects on top of all the crazy plot twists and lore reveals and the insane storytelling we've seen so far, it's going to be hard to keep this out of the top 3. It's been a very special arc. And like I said, it looks like the best has yet to come. And I don't even know how I could say such a thing after a chapter like this. But it's the reality of the situation at hand. The Egghead incident is going to be humongous. And this is going to be something that is going to forever place its imprint on the One Piece world. Right? Like, this is something that the narrator specifically had to come back and let us know. This is going to be major. What takes place here is going to be known around the world as the Egghead incident. And the chapter afterwards, it starts and becomes a part of that major incident with Shanks one-shotting Kid. Because now that is going to be placed in the newspaper tomorrow morning. Just like I'm sure almost everything else Big News Morgan is going to put on the newspaper tomorrow morning. What happened on Egghead? What happened with Blackbeard, Law, Garp, and all of them? What happens potentially with the Marines and Akainu, the Revolutionary Army, and of course Shanks and Kid? It's going to be like the biggest news day ever. And that's why, like, I just can't imagine what else is about to take place here on Egghead Island. It's just so exciting. It is, I don't know, man. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. I look at this panel of Shanks using the device. Look at this, bro. He sees in future sight. I'll blast him down to the ocean and floor in 10 seconds flat. Brings up the Spartan laser. Shanks makes it over there in 10 seconds. He looks 10 seconds into the future. Proceeds to see what is about to take place 10 seconds into the future. Backman is like, yo, you've seen one crazy behind future. Shanks is like, as expected, the movie's playing out in his head. He speed blitzes Kid and says the magic word, divine departure. Divine departure. I mean, yo, it's just, you say you can't get any more peak than this. But it's like, dude, there is. You can. You can. Luffy's dream. Luffy versus Blackbeard. Luffy versus Shanks. Shanks versus Blackbeard. Dragon backstory. Dragon doing something. Pulling up on instant messenger Sama, Celestial Dragons, whatever. Like, Void Century. Us finding the One Piece. There is still peaks to be had. And what I felt last night was so insane to know this is still only the tip of the iceberg. It's just, it's like I said, there's bias, of course, here. I mean, there's always bias, it's me. But there's bias here from being a longtime fan of a character like a Shanks that I always just wanted to see do something, that I always wanted to see just attack. It's like all the insane hype behind this character throughout the course of the series. And you get the Discord hockey scene to see this right after seeing him use Future Sight. I mean, I thought I ascended during Film Red. This is canon. This is canon manga. When this gets animated, oh, bro, this is gonna look gorgeous. They're gonna put Toei's best on this episode. You know how much they love Shanks. I think they love Shanks as much as they love Zoro. It's like when the King, right? So it's like they have these certain characters that they always hype up. You know how Toei is. Shanks is one of those characters. So you already know when they get to this episode is getting top class adaptation. I mean, we're getting the very best, the creme de la creme. This divine departure is going to feel like a summon coming down in Final Fantasy 16. This thing is going to have the equivalence of shaking the entire planet in the same way in which we saw like in the Toriko verse with Grand Knocking. I mean, when Toei does this, they're going to go so extra about it, and I'm all for it. I am all for it. I am going to be here for it. I'm going to be feeding for it. Somebody pointed out that March 27th, or I think it was 28th, was also the night that Gear 5 chapter dropped officially. And the 27th is when this chapter drops officially. So it's like 1 year from each other. We not only had two of the craziest streams ever in the history of the channel, but also two of the greatest chapters. Were two chapters that truly remind me why I love this series as much as I do, and showcase the beauty of the weekly One Piece experience. Because this, to me, this is going to be hype in any capacity. I don't care if you're catching up to the series. I don't care if you read this like in 2,000 years from now and you pick up this panel. Whoever reads it's going to be hyped. With context and following the story to this point, because of the length of the series, the journey, the type of journey that it is, the way that it's written, you're going to feel hyped when you get to this point. But the fact that we experience this on a weekly basis, it's unmatched. That's what allows us to feel so incredible. I can't stop looking at this divine departure. He had a divine departure on Kid. The poor guy got sent to King Kai, man. Look at his face, bro. Then Dorian Broggy finished the job, man. On this day in the New World by Elbaf, the Kid pirate crew led by Useless Captain Kidd and man worth 3 billion was completely eradicated. Look at his face, dog. That's what happens when you mess with these people. The fact that Dorian Broggy finished the job on Kid's ship. It's like, man, when they wake up, they're gonna be in pain, dude. Narrator for 2 chapters in a row. So many dope spreads. I get told all the time, I wish I was there during Marineford Weekly. Or I wish I was there during X-Arc Weekly. And for the people that have those sentiments, Wano was just like that on a weekly basis. But what we're experiencing on Egghead might even eclipse that, man. This is crazy, dude. It's special. Then look at the color page, bro. Yo, Graish, Divine Departure colors page is beautiful. Look at this, man. It's pink. It's pink. Oh, man, dude. But most certainly, man, it's like, what's next for Kid and his crew? You know, there was, of course, we all expected them to lose, just not in this fashion. This was an overwhelming Emperor-level defeat, right? Like, you know, we saw Whitebeard do his thing as the first real showcase of what an Emperor is all about. Then we got to see Kaido showcasing how much an emperor can take. I mean, in a display of absolute dominance and brilliance. Kaido was incredible. We got to see the history of the verse, right? With Roger and people like Roger. Oh my god, bro, Odin took a divine departure from Prime Roger. And he lived to tell the tale and came back like it was nothing. Now I understand why Kaido had Odin in his top 5. I would have Odin in my top 5. He took this same attack that wiped out a whole crew. Odin took that and wanted to see the man again. Yo. Bro, this man Odin. Bro, hold on. Where's 960? Did I go too far? Is this the right volume? 966. Dude, look at me. He took that attack. Odin took that attack. Flew like 100 yards. But he came back. He bounced back and said, I say, what was that? I need to have a word with you. Odin is different. Odin is different. Man, as if him boxing Kaido wasn't enough to let you know that Odin was that dude. Then you see something like this. He took that attack and came right back up. I mean, he flew like 100 yards, but he still came right back, man. Wow. Wow. Insane. Insane, man. Elbaf is going to be a phenomenal arc. Because now we're going to deal with the aftermath of this scenario. Granted, Egghead, we still don't know what's going to happen on Egghead, right? But if what we're speculating is true, and Kid remains here on Elbaf, Luffy comes here, we see what happens between the two, all the other craziness happening there. But that's also going to be Kid's journey to redemption as well. So I wonder how that's all going to play out there on Elbaf now, because it's going to add a completely different layer of interest and intrigue within that arc. Where is Shanks going, man? Is he pulling up to Egghead? Is he going to Lodestar? Is he just gonna go straight to intercepting Blackbeard? Dude, that would be the peakest of peak, man. Going from this to that. Oh my gosh, man. And then Blackbeard is like, is it him? Is it one of his crew members? I don't know, dude. But the fact that Luffy and them have to deal with this. It's like, man, the Egghead, now we can definitely see. If this was just the tip of the iceberg, now we understand why the Egghead incident is considered to be so legendary by the narrator. Like, what's next? What is Oda gonna pull out next? This is crazy. Like I said, I don't even know what type of this video this is. I just needed to get all this stuff off my chest. Because I saw Divine Departure last night, and I barely slept. I've been just in a daze all morning. I need to get to my work, but also before I do any of that, I just had to come on here and talk. I just had to come on here and talk, man. I had to get all this stuff on my chest. Like I said, we'll be back with the afterthoughts later on this week. But I had to just talk and process all of the stuff I saw in this chapter, because I'm still just in a daze, and it's just I'm still so hyped, dude. Like the reactions, man. I just want to watch like I just wish I could spend all day just watching reactions. I really could. What a special chapter. What a special chapter, man. First named attack, and it's exactly what Roger used, man. Divine. It just makes you want to grab your own fingers and just be like, yeah. Like, how could it not, man? How could it not? I'll see y'all for the afterthoughts, man. What a special chapter, bro. Holy Blagnards, man.